What is going on, folks? Finally, after a week, I got a video. I haven't been able to post anything. Unfortunately, I've had some extended family over, and they some hillbillies. They came to the big city. I had to show them all around. They took all my goddamn energy. But finally, today, they got the fuck out of my house, and I had some time to record. But this is an incredible video I got today. This is a VGC Series 12 $1,000 money match versus Joe UX9, veteran VGC player. Now, how this came to be, because I know some of y'all are about to click off. No, do not click off yet. I know y'all are like, where's the OU? I don't get it. Where's Clefable teleporting? No, just watch what I'm putting out. Look, we have a double series today versus Joe UX9. How did this come to me? How did a $1,000 money match happen? I'll show you. So I put out a challenge on Twitter. All right, it was like last week or whatever. I put out a challenge. I said, any Pokemon YouTuber best of 3 me. I said you got to have at least 5K subs because no free clout. And I said we can do OU, we can do draft, we can do whatever. I don't care. $1,000 money match is my terms. So Joe UX9, I got a good amount of responses, but he was like the most prominent response I saw. So I checked out his shit. I had definitely seen his Twitter profile before, but I didn't follow him or anything. I don't follow too many VGC people because I'm not too into the scene. But I saw that you had them followers. I was like, okay, this guy's a vet. We're gonna run the set. I'm going to prepare. I said I need a week to prepare, and we're going to run the set in VGC for $1,000. And here's what came next. So, like I said, guys, don't click off this because it's not doubles. I will explain this to the best of my ability. Obviously, I had to grind this too, but here's my backstory with doubles VGC. I'm going to keep calling it doubles because I've been on Smogon for like 9 years now. I've been playing in tournaments on Smogon for like 7-8 years. In all these tournaments, there's always doubles OU. So I at least see 2v2. Doubles OU is a lot different than VGC, don't get me wrong. Especially in Gen 8. There's still no Dynamax in doubles OU in Gen 8, and you use 6. You don't use 4 like you do in VGC. But regardless, I do have some understanding of how 2v2 works. And in the end, Pokemon is still Pokemon. If I know how to make reads in singles, I can bring it over to Pokemon. To doubles. Pokemon is a very psychological game. Some things you learn from this game, it'll go through regardless of the tier. It's why in the past, even though I don't like lower tiers, I've been far in lower tier tournaments, stuff like that. Because in the end, the core game is the same. I'm not saying that doubles is just as easy to learn as something like, I don't know, RU, Little Cup, because it's not. It's a different game. But regardless, there's still some elements in Pokemon that are the same. So I figured, you know what? I can do this. So we tweeted about it. Everyone saw the tweets. They knew the series was going to happen in a week or so. And I think basically everybody thought that I was just completely turbo screwed. Like there was no chance. I mean, this guy's a vet. I'm not known for my VGC prowess, but you can never count anybody out in Pokemon. First of all, there's hacks in this game, so you can never count anybody out. And two, a good friend of mine, one of the best competitors I knew, he told me that he would never give himself less than a 1/3 chance versus anybody in Pokemon. And I was like, what do you mean by that? He said, even if I have to play someone in like Gen 2 OU, and I barely even know Gen 2 OU, he's like, if I have a little bit of time to prepare, he's like, I've never given myself less than a 1/3 chance. And I really like that idea. So I figured, you know what? I got a week to prepare. I'm not giving myself less than a 1/3 chance either. And this is a best of 3. 1/3 chance means I sneak a game. Maybe I snatch another game too. So that's really the mentality I was going in with. I said, you know what? This is a one-off best of 3. This is not like I'm going to a VGC tournament or anything. This is a one-off BO3. I can figure this out. I just got to do my right prep. So let me show you guys the prep first of all. So looking at the team matchup here, you can see from my team that I have a rain team. The core here is Zacian Ogre as Joe UX9. Let me make it big. Joe UX9 is using Rinya Sun. Rinya Sun is what his team is called. It was created by this player named Rinya Kobayashi from Japan. He got 6th place with this in some tournament. Anyway, this is the biggest team in the meta for like 4 months in VGC. Obviously, I learned all of this in the last week or whatever. But yes, this is the #1 team in the meta for the most part. Very good team. Has just really good cores in general between Groudon, Zacian. Then you have Charizard. You have good support with Gastrodon, Incineroar, and Grimmsnarl. But regardless, I had a good feeling that Joe was going to bring this team or something very similar. Because on the day that we had made it publicly known that we were going to have this challenge, I had a bunch of people DMing me telling me, yo, bro, all Joe ever uses is Groudon, Charizard, Groudon, Charizard. My boy Moxie Infinite DM me. He said, dude, you got to trust me. Groudon, Charizard, +1 Bandmon like Zacian. He's like, just counter team that hard. And I was like, you know what? All right. I think I'm going to counter team this Sun. Because you got to understand something. So this is a BO3, right? Which means all of our teams, our team is locked, right? We have a best of 3. We can't change a move, EV, none of that shit. If you go to a tournament, a VGC tournament, your team is locked for the entirety of the tournament. You got to bring the same shit every game versus every opponent that you play. I'm not at a VGC tournament. That's why my team has a Weezing. This is a full-on counter team to Joe's team. And I'm going to tell you exactly how this came to be. So the base of this team came from another very great, impressive VGC player. His name is M. Forbes. Emilio is his real name. He was actually on my SPL team a couple years ago, and he did great for us. He put up like 8 wins or something, but he was one of the best doubles player. No doubt he's one of the best VGCers as well, but he put together the base of this team. I got it from my buddy Case, one of my oldest Pokemon friends, who's a pretty great VGCer as well, and he told me, brother, we're going to use the Weezing tech. And I was immediately on board, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I was on board. Because I had just posted OU videos with Weezing, and I had been using neutralizing gas Trapper Weezing. So when he started using neutralizing gas Weezing, I immediately said, yes, I'm in. I know this is going to be a hit. So basically, we took a Zacian Ogre framework. We have Thundurus on there as well to have a little more offense. And then Weezing plus Kyogre is basically here to completely counter team and shut down this rain. And I'm going to show you exactly how it does that. Because Weezing has neutralizing gas, it takes care of all the abilities on the field, meaning Groudon no longer has its drought. We're able to stop Zacian's Intrepid Sword, which gives it +1. We're able to stop Charizard's possible solar power. Grimmsnarl is not going to have priority because Prankster is taken out. Incineroar, Intimidate, and then of course, what's it called? Gastrodon, Storm Drain. The biggest part about this is that Weezing plus Kyogre is able to circumvent Storm Drain from Gastrodon. The reason the Sun is so good is because Gastrodon is able to use Storm Drain and doubles to soak in the water moves. And for those of you who don't know how Storm Drain works in doubles, it's targeted towards the Mon with Storm Drain. So even if I go for the shit on a different Mon, it's going to Gastrodon. I don't have a choice. So Weezing plus Kyogre is the true counter to such a build. That is like the full counter team way you can go about doing this. So my boy Case put this on here. He said, okay, practice with this team, practice some with him. I practiced this matchup. I played versus Sun and very similar structures to this. This is the Rinya Sun, so this is like the most common one. Joe has a video I saw on his YouTube while I was doing prep. I think it's from March 22nd when he went to a tournament, and he had used this team, and he basically brought like a very similar variation, but yeah, maybe I'll link that video in the description. Either way, let me keep going. Sorry, I got interrupted. CTC came in screaming. Anyways, apologies. Let me go over the team. So this was the team we went with, so you guys know exactly what we have for the games that preceded. So we got Thundurus here. Wild Charge, Fly, Foul Play, Protect, Physical. Now this is a really cool set. Obviously, we're going to try to Dynamax the Thundurus, and I really liked Thundurus on here for a few reasons. One, Joe has used Venusaur in the past with his son, and he has used Focus Sash Venusaur. So if I'm able to go for a max Airstream and bring that thing down to its Sash, it'll partner really well with my Quick Attack Zacian, which is another little tech that is going to allow me to knock off any Focus Sash stuff. If he had, you know, some Whimsicott or whatever the fuck it was, I wanted to have a Zacian to pick off Focus Sash just so I didn't get cheesed by that, and I figured that would be really nice to have. Another thing that was really good with this Thundurus is that Foul Play, when you Dynamax, becomes Max Darkness. If you have Weezing on the field with neutralizing gas, you go through Lunala, who is legal in this. You're allowed to have 2 restricted Pokemon, which are basically like the Super Ubers. Rules of VGC are all the Mons are level 50, all matches are 20 minutes, you got 7 minutes of time to pick altogether, 45 seconds to move, and your team cannot do replicated items, which is why my Incineroar is Air Balloon and my Weezing is Shook Berry, because I have to give both of them a good chance at, you know, getting past the ground moves. But yeah, Joe had used a version of the Groudon Sun, which is nicknamed Lunadon, which stands for Lunala plus Groudon. So Thundurus with the Max Darkness coupled with Weezing's neutralizing gas to stop Lunala means that I would completely destroy that as well. So I figured Thundurus was a really nice pick too. I mean, I didn't make this team, my boy Case made it, and then basically because I had an overwhelming amount, like at least 5 or 6 people told me, because I had about 5 or 6 people just tell me stuff, but the majority, I got the base team from Emilio, and then my boy Case put the Weezing on there and said, yeah, just go with this. And I was like, bet, just had to test it out a bunch, because like I said, I do not have to go to a VGC tournament with this. I'm not bringing this Weezing team to a VGC tournament. Sure, it'd be great if every single player at the VGC tournament brought this Rinya Sun. Yeah, maybe I'd just like be able to learn my way to winning the whole tournament. But that's how a whole VGC tour works. This is a one-off. If I have a gut feeling that he's going to bring a team, I know he's the better player and the more experienced player. I'm going to counter team the shit out of it, and I'm going to focus on this one specific matchup. This is a $1,000 money match. I need to zone in. So basically, I laddered a bunch, use this team, figured out exactly what I liked, and going into the series, I decided that my favorite 4 to use were Thund, Kyogre, Zacian, Weezing on average. Obviously, Kyogre, Zacian, Weezing is implied. You have to bring those 3. They're the 3 best and what the team is based off of. But then Thundurus and Incineroar, it just depends on what you want to bring. And so with that being said, pretty long 10-minute intro. Let me finally get into the series and make the dimensions correct. 1 second. All right, so as I said before, this team is very well known. Joe has posted an import of this team. He did hide his EVs, but I had an import of this team that I had from like a few days ago too. So I was very well prepared in general for this team. I knew what a majority of it was. I know it's AV Groudon. He has a couple of set tweaks, but for the most part, I know what to expect. I also played up against this team a few times. Like, for example, I know the Gastrodon is Yawn, so I have to be careful around that. I have Taunt Weezing, as well as if I Dynamax my Kyogre, I can go for Max Lightning, circumvent that. So I'm thinking of all the different ways I can kind of, you know, play my odds right. Usually in this matchup, it's pretty obvious the mons that are coming, and then you kind of have to pick the one that you think is going to work. So for this match, I decided, you know what, I'm going to bring Thundurus. Reason being for Thundurus is I figured, you know what, the type of player I am, I'm a very proactive player. This is how I play Pokemon. This is how I've always played Pokemon. I always go on the offensive early game. My way of playing has always been play very suffocating, like an offensive in the beginning. That way, in the middle game, if stuff starts to go wrong, you have at least built so much ground to work with from the early game that you can come back no matter what. That has always been my way of playing. I've always felt that if you go immediately and you start playing tough, it can sort of tilt the opponent. So in general, I'm always going to go with the offensive approach past the defensive approach. So for this reason, I was like, okay, I'm going to decide to pick Thundurus as my 4th instead of the Incineroar, because I want to go and maybe Dynamax my Thundurus and use that thing as a big threat. I mean, he doesn't have flying resists barring Zacian, so I can go for a lot of Airstreams, Max Lightning, that kind of thing like I showed you guys before. I'm Physical Life Orb, but let's get right into the game. So, oh shit. Okay, so he leads off with Charizard and Zacian as I lead off with Kyogre and Weezing. So straight off the bat, yes, gotta have my Weezing out, but this is basically a mind game, and it's a big mind game as well. And this is basically something that's going to happen in every game that we have in this series. So he leads off with Charizard and he leads off with Zacian. Because my Weezing's neutralizing gas is on the field, I am not going to automatically have my Drizzle set up. On top of that, Zacian obviously does not get +1. I'm going to go for the Dynamax with my Kyogre turn 1, right? As I'm going to keep my Weezing in. The reason being is I figured, okay, I can have my Weezing in. I circumvent whatever he wants to do. I'm going to Dynamax my Kyogre. That way I'm bulky enough to take whatever, and I'm going to start hitting things. I figured I'd just keep my Weezing in. I go from there. I go for the Z Dynamax as his Charizard Dynamax. I keep saying Z Dynamax. It's because in singles we don't play with Dynamax. So the closest thing to me when I see like Max Geyser is I think of like Waterium Z. So sorry if I get that wrong because I've been saying that shit a lot. But we both Dynamax here. Now I'm faster with my Kyogre. First, Zacian hits my Weezing with a Behemoth Blade. 61% is ridiculous damage. My Weezing is just max speed, max HP. I decided not to go with bulk on this. We didn't need it. Weezing is just meant here to be Kyogre's partner. It's going to be protecting a lot and that kind of thing. We'd rather just go with fast. That way I can get off taunts, you know, wisps, maybe a Sludge Bomb in case I do need to do damage, that kind of thing. But like I said before, Joe goes for the Dynamax with his Charizard, then the Behemoth Blade. My Kyogre is actually faster than his Charizard. My Kyogre's EVs are actually pretty incredible. As you can see from this thing, we got 44 HP, 156 defense, so we're definitely not frail by any means. We have some great bulk, 76 special attack modest, that way we stay strong, and then 228 speed, which is still quite quick. Like this is a very nice tailor-made spread, which is something I think is very cool in VGC. But besides that, Joe is running an even more defensive Charizard, which again, we see because it's slower than Kyogre. And because of that, I get put in a really, really bad position. On top of that, from Joe's import, he used to be Life Orb Charizard, but he's weakness policy now. So I was like, oh shit. So this is a good call on his part. I'm pretty sure he did expect me to bring Zacian Ogre. So I guess Charizard, you know, it works out well when you Dynamax. You're able to take the Max Lightning. You can take the Max Geyser, get your shit, Airstream +1 speed. And then Zacian's also eating off of that. But he double attacks my Weezing there. And the mind game goes perfectly for him. I was thinking that Gastrodon's in the back, obviously. He might just want to bring that in. And, I mean, if I switch... The other way this works is I switch out my Weezing. If I switch out my Weezing, my Kyogre instantly gets +1 attack. I mean, not +1 attack. His Zacian gets +1 attack, and my Kyogre's Rain goes up. That way, if I would have gone for the Dynamaxed Max Geyser on Charizard, it would have died because Rain would have gone back up. However, if I switch out my Weezing to make the Rain go back up and he goes into Gastrodon with one of his guys, well, then I'm fucked because Kyogre's attack is going to get targeted towards Gastrodon, which has Storm Drain. Again, in doubles, Storm Drain draws in the attack. So this was a great mind game that he played very well. He's able to get rid of my Weezing immediately. His Charizard is looking very, very strong as well. And I was like, oh my god, this is pretty shitty. Like, off the bat, this is a very annoying spot because Gastrodon, like we said, Gastrodon is definitely in the back. He needs that. I have a Kyogre team. There's no way Gastrodon is not in the back. And Gastrodon Groudon is most obviously what he has. So at least now, from this game, I sort of know what he's going to bring. Joey taught me something really good. He was like, dude, back in the day, I used to practice VGC for a week, and I would do really well. I could get like 16th in a tournament. And I mean, everyone knows Joe's good at every tier, but the way he broke it down was really good. He said, remember, it's a best of 3. Game 1, get as much info as you can about the guy's team. Game 2, start playing better and use that info and get a little more. And then he's like, Game 3, then you got to play hard. You got to like really get, you know what you're going up against. You've had 2 full games of mind games if you get to Game 3. Figure it out. And so I definitely agree. Game 1, you want to get the info. So far, the info I've gotten is that the Zard is now weakness policy. However, my Zacian is quick attack. Quick attack is there, like I said, to pick off the Venusaur in Sun. This is very good, though, because Charizard is just going to be able to get quick attacked here and knocked out. So at least Charizard isn't able to do a super, super crazy sweep on me. Joe makes a good play here. He goes into Gastrodon here because why not? Now that Weezing is dead, what is a Dynamaxed Kyogre going to do to Gastrodon? The best thing I can go for is a Dynamaxed Ice Beam, which is Max Hailstorm, which really is just, it's not even going to do that much. It'll only do a good amount if I'm play roughing as well. But yes, Gastrodon looks really annoying now. It's looking like it's just going to wall a lot of guys. I did get rid of his Charizard, which Dynamaxed, which is nice. But again, Weezing's dead. And I have Thunderous in the back, remember. Foul Play, Wild Charge, and Fly. So Kyogre's in here. He protects with his Zacian, and he goes for Protect with his Gastrodon, which is a good play on his part. The reason he made that play is because he was probably afraid of... well, not even afraid of anything. He really just wanted to let Dynamax wear off, which I completely understand. Anyways, I went for Max Lightning here. The reason I went for Max Lightning is because I knew for a fact Zacian was protecting. I wasn't completely sure what Gastrodon was going to do. I wouldn't have even been that shocked if he just went for Earth Power with Gastrodon. But I was pretty sure Zacian was protecting. So the reason I went for Thunder here is because I didn't... I mean, not Thunder, but Max Lightning, which is, I guess, Thunder. I went for Max Lightning is because it sets up Electric Terrain and circumvents any chance he has for going for Yawn. I'm trying to bring this back, right? So I figure, okay, I don't want any Yawn Cheese from Gastrodon. However, this shit's +1, so it's already kind of a big threat. But I do Max Lightning. I get a little bit of chip on the Zacian, which, I mean, that's cool. I couldn't do anything anyway, so yeah, get the Electric Terrain up. Now here I'm thinking, okay, Kyogre is still, even after Dynamax, I do have a good amount of defense, so I can live a +1 play rough from Zacian, and I can probably do something in return regardless with Origin Pulse or whatnot, so I wasn't like too terrified at this point of what he could do. But here he makes an excellent, excellent play. He brings in his Groudon on the switch, and this is a really, really, really solid play. Because what I did with Zacian is I went for Play Rough into the Gastrodon slot and an Ice Beam from Kyogre, hoping that it would be enough to just knock out the Gastrodon. But you're going to see he has an incredible tech. He has Solar Blade on his Zacian, and he is able to one-hit KO my Kyogre immediately. It doesn't matter how much defense and HP I have. That's +1, 120 base. This is like a Kartana got brought. Probably stronger than Kartana. You know what I mean? So that's a great play. Solar Blades me there. And at that point, I was like, oh, I'm in a very, very bad spot for this game. This is like terrible. However, another smart piece of info comes here. Peep this. Zacian, his is slower than mine. So another piece of info we keep for the remaining games. Remember that. So Kyogre goes down there. No shock there. Solar Blade came out, destroyed me. I bring him on Thunderous at this point. Behemoth Blade the Groudon just to knock it out. Joe's Groudon is Assault Vest, so I don't have to worry about that thing protecting and getting that. My favorite part about 2v2, like I said, is getting the protect turns right. I have been pretty good about that in the past. Like, I remember in my vid with Wolfie, I had some good calls in there about the protect turns. And even when I watch doubles, I like... Because, I don't know, I feel like that is the real psychological part, getting the protect turns. So that's my favorite part of doubles for sure. But regardless, this Groudon didn't have protect, so I didn't have to worry about it. Knock that thing out. He goes for his own Behemoth Blade against my Zacian, does 90%. This shit is so strong. It's ridiculous. As I go for Foul Play. The reason I went for Foul Play is because he's +1 attack. Going for Wild Charge, it's not going to do shit. Like, it's going to do, like, maybe 20% more. But I'm going to take a Recoil, so I figured it's not worth it. I'm Life Orb anyway. I don't want to keep taking Recoil. He now brings in Gastrodon. We're down to our final 2 versus 2. I'm going to Protect with my Zacian because, you know, I don't want to die to either of these guys, and I can't kill Gastrodon, as I'm going to fly up with my Thunderous kind of just to stall around a bit. He's going to go for the Behemoth Blade into my Zacian to finish me off, and he goes for the Ice Beam as well into my Thunderous. I think he should have just Earth-Powered my Zacian, though. I don't think he needed to Ice Beam Thunderous. I think he should have just Earth-Powered Zacian. I mean, Obviously, I protected with my Zacian, but whatever. It really don't matter. Either way, I play rough there and I miss. As the Behemoth Blades knocks me out. And then I miss my fly as well and take the Ice Beam. It really doesn't fucking matter. I honestly think it was kind of crazy. Like, because if I play roughed into Gastro, maybe I could have had a shot. But he calls me out and he attacks immediately with the Zacian. Maybe if I killed this, I could have had a shot. Maybe if I killed the Zacian there with Behemoth Blade, I think I would have had a shot. But I also think that on turn 7, he should have just attacked my Zacian rather than Ice Beaming into the Thund after it flies, because he doesn't have to worry about Thund's HP. Zacian's faster and automatically KOs it with Play Rough. So I do think that he shouldn't have Ice Beamed into Thund after I flied. He should have just Earth Powered into Zacian in case I attacked him. Regardless, though, those 2 misses do not matter whatsoever. He was going to win this regardless, and he runs away with game 1. So I was like, okay, I got my info. I kind of understand the type of player he is. I understand how the turn 1 mind game went wrong. And now I'll go from there and see. On to game 2. So again, like I said, same teams. Can't even change one Eevee. Let's go over what we talked about. His Zacian is slower than my Zacian. His Charizard's slow as shit. It's weakness policy though. And on average, it looks like he goes for much bulkier spreads. We saw that his Zacian had Solar Blade, so he'll force good mind games with that when his Groudon comes in, and he'll be able to really destroy my Kyogre with that. And this game is where I decided to bring Incineroar, because I was like, okay, Thundurus, if I don't max it, it's garbage, and I don't even want to max it all the time. This was a counter pick for Lunala and Venusaur, neither of which are on the field. So I was like, fuck it, we're bringing Incineroar this time. At least Incineroar can fake out. We have good support on that guy. It has Flare Blitz and Assurance. Assurance is cool because we can hit Gastro on the switch, and then... oh, I guess it only works if you already took damage. Sorry, not on the switch. I'm thinking of it in singles. But you know how Assurance works. If the opponent's already taken damage, they take more. But the real reason I wanted this is because on top of Fake Out, we have Flare Blitz. And that way we can actually hurt Zacian. On top of that, in combination with Weezing, we're going to make sure Zacian gets no boosts. Because Weezing already sets up the neutralizing gas. That way blocking Intrepid Sword. And then if I switch out Weezing and I bring in the Incineroar, then obviously he's at... what's it called? He stays neutralized. So that's exactly what I was going to go for. And for the first turn, we actually decide to go with the same leads. So he decides to lead off with Charizard and Zacian, and I decide to lead off with Kyogre and Weezing. Alright, so here's how we're going to go with game 2. Like I said, we have the exact same leads. So what happened last time? Last time, I decided to stay in with my Weezing. And for that reason, the rain did not go up. His Charizard Dynamaxed, and I got screwed. So I figured, you know what? I'm not going to go with the same play as last time. It's a mind game, right? If I go with the same play as last time and he does decide to go into Gastrodon here, then it'll be great if I Dynamax my Ogre, right? Because then there's no Storm Drain. I could smoke the Zacian. I could damage his Gastrodon a shit ton too. Like, it really doesn't matter. So I was like, okay, this is kind of a mind game. I'm like, would he predict me to go for the aggressive play and do the same thing? And I sort of decided that the classic aggressive play would be to do the same thing again. And because I already made the aggressive team choice in first game with Thundurus, I was already playing a more reactive style this time instead of proactive. So again, it is a mind game. Regardless, I was like, okay, I'm going to go for Max Geyser again with Kyogre, but I'm going to switch out the Weezing. That way my rain goes back up. However, I get red again. I switch out the Weezing and I bring in the Incineroar. That way the rain goes up, but he calls that perfectly that this time I am going to switch into Incineroar and think that I am going to get the rain up. I do get it up, but it doesn't matter because he brings in the Gastrodon. He brings in the Gastrodon, like I said, Storm Drain, soaks up your water type attack, and we give that guy +1 special attack. Ogre Dynamax cannot touch Gastrodon, and now I was like, oh my god, no way I fucked this up. But again, it's turn 1. So at this point, I was like, okay, it's not a choke. We just got to figure out the outs and how to keep going from here. And, I mean, he got me with the Gastrodon play, but it's not over. I still have my Weezing. I still have my Zacian in the back, too. Remember, my Zacian's fast as shit. Faster than all his guys. I can figure this out. So, yes, we Max Geyser into that as Incineroar comes in. Incineroar is able to keep the, what's it called? The Zacian at +0 neutral attack, as my Incineroar was able to take the Behemoth Blade pretty easily here. Here, Joe is actually going to sack his Charizard as I go back into my Weezing. This works out perfectly for me. Again, I had to bring in Weezing. There was really no other play. Gastrodon is the biggest threat. I can target the Zacian slot there as well. Rain will go back up, and I mean, if he doesn't protect, I'm knocking that shit out for real. And he just sacks the Charizard instead and decides to Dynamax his Gastrodon. I understand why he Dynamaxed his Gastrodon. You look at my well, first of all, I've already revealed my 4 Mons because there's no way I'm not bringing Zacian. So Joe already knows my 4 Mons are Kyogre, Zacian, Weezing, Incineroar. He knows Weezing's neutralizing gas, not levitate. So I totally understood why he Dynamaxed here, because he's like, what the fuck? My +1 max Quakes can just kill all your guys. He goes for max Quake into my Weezing. He does 98%, and I'm able to hang on to that. I'm just max HP, max speed. Pretty surprised I lived at +1. Probably a roll, but yeah, very lucky. I don't know how level 50 rolls work, but yeah, very fortunate I lived that. So Weezing is still in. I'm just going to go for the Protect as he brings in Zacian. He goes for his own Protect with Zacian, which I understood. You don't want Kyogre to kill this off. And if he tries to Behemoth Blade into Weezing and I Protect, then Weezing is still going to be alive for that turn, meaning Kyogre can go for the Max Geyser on Zacian, and I'd fucking OHKO it. So I went with Protect of my own with Weezing just in case he did try to knock me out. But no, he protects with his Zacian, and then I'm just going to, what's it called, Max Geyser, hit the Gastrodon, that sort of thing. And we do 41%, which is still really excellent damage. I really can't complain about that. Max Geyser comes in, knocks out my Weezing. That's going to be that. Again, Dynamax. Actually, I don't think I explained this yet, so I don't know. I don't got to say again. Dynamax, how it works in doubles, when there's two Pokemon on the field, they both get the stat changes. So if you were to go for Max Darkness against the opponent, both of their opposing Pokemon would get the stat debuff. Similarly, if you go for a move like Max Quake, which boosts your Spadef, your partner, in this case Zacian, will also get the boost. That's probably the coolest thing about doubles to me, or VGC rather, because doubles doesn't have this Dynamax mechanic. But anyways, yes, knocks out the Weezing finally, but it's fine. We've already killed off the Charizard. I know Groudon's in the back. My Kyogre's at full HP, and the other thing is the Zacian is getting countered. It's not able to keep its, like, it's not able to put on as much as offensive presence as it would like to. I'm able to counter this a lot better because I have my Ogre and Zacian of my own, and they're at full HP. Not to mention I have my Incineroar in the back, which cannot get OHKO'd by Zacian, so I can use that to pressure as well. So either way, here we are, and I'm going to bring in my Zacian. Here, my Kyogre ends its Dynamax. I'm going to go Brack into Incineroar as I'm going to protect with Zacian. Reason being is that Zacian cannot really kill anything on the field in front of me. Gastrodon is Dynamaxed, right? So Play Rough or Behemoth Blade is not going to get the job done. And I cannot take a +1 Max Quake. It's going to obviously kill my thing. He tries to go and hit my Zacian with his Gastrodon, which I thought was really, really surprising. He does just go for a Behemoth Blade into my Kyogre, but honestly, he really didn't have to go for Behemoth Blade. My Dynamax was already dead. He does have Sacred Sword, so he should have just gone for that because it does more than Behemoth Blade anyway, and he knows my last. So Behemoth Blade was really unnecessary for him. Maybe he just didn't see I was un-Dynamax or something, but yeah, he could have just Sacred Sworded there. Depending on rolls, I don't think it would have killed me, but yeah, he actually does just try to kill my Zacian, but no, like I said, I cannot attack with Zacian. My own Zacian doesn't kill his Zacian, and I can't kill Gastrodon, so there's no point in me attacking. I'm protecting, and this shit's mad annoying with its Dynamax. I gotta, stall that out as well. But Incineroar is still decently healthy. Zacian is neutralized, and I can always fake out Gastrodon and play mind games with that around Protect. Here, we go back into Ogre. We're still max attack, as he is going to go for the Protect of his own, probably to protect himself from Zacian, which I completely understand. He was trying to probably circumvent Fake Out too. Didn't want to get Behemoth Bladed, and he protects with Gastrodon too. I get it. He's just trying to read it out. I go for Play Rough there. But like I said, Kyogre is at full HP, so I'm not too worried. I Play Rough into Gastrodon at just 71% and just dies. He goes for Behemoth Blade, but we already saw what happens with that. And that is that it can't kill me. He's at +0. So we know that, because from the before we know that +1 Behemoth Blade has 90%. But he's at +0, so we're able to barely hang on. I go for Ice Beam. I actually Ice Beamed into Gastrodon in case Play Rough didn't kill for some reason, but he seems to be full on Spadef. But I Ice Beam into Zacian. No freeze, but it's okay. We keep moving. Like I said before, game 1, we got the info that my Zacian's fast as balls, faster than all his guys. So we just keep throwing out big-ass attacks from Zacian. Again, Groudon we know is not Protect. It's Assault Vest. Yeah, either way, I'm protecting here. At this point, because Gastrodon went down, I basically had it very clear-cut way to end this game. I had a very clear-cut way to, be the victor in this game. All I have to do as Groudon comes up and set up the sun is sack my Incineroar, then come back in with 100% Kyogre, set the rain up, Water Spout hits both targets, so I just Water Spout, I'll kill both of them. Doesn't matter if Groudon's Assault Vest. It's going to die in the rain to a Water Spout. But here, Joe makes a great play. I protect with my Zacian, obviously, because I want to keep that guy. I'm not killing either of the guys in the field, so I said, fuck it, we're just protecting again. But he goes for the Shadow Claw into my Incineroar. Now, the reason he did that is because he knew it wouldn't kill my Incineroar. If he kills my Incineroar immediately there, well, then my Kyogre is just going to come in immediately, Water Spout, and he doesn't have a chance to get rid of Zacian. But regardless, we already know that the Groudon is AV, right? Like I said, it does not have Protect. So I'm able to fake out here, and I get massive damage with Behemoth Blade. 69%, like out of this world, +1 damage. As he just knocks me out there, which, I mean, I know he wanted to knock out my guy, but it doesn't matter. Because of the Incineroar and Weezing switching back and forth, I'm able to neutralize the Zacian so well that this thing is now -1, meaning it's not a threat. There is no Sun Up for his Solar Blade to be a threat, and even plus, I mean, he's -1, so Solar Blade wasn't doing shit either way. But at that point, I'm very solidly in the lead. Kyogre's at full HP. He's -1. He goes for a Sacred Sword. It does only 22%. As I go for another Water Spout, doing 40%. He's going to try to stall out the Rain because he basically has to hope that I miss all my moves and he, like, cheeses past me. But fortunately not. I'm just going to go for the Thunder, and I'm going to knock him out. So, yes, I'm able to pull that one back. So, looking back at this game, he definitely got the turn 1 right when he went to his Gastrodon. It definitely left me in a shit spot. But shit got really good once he sacked his Charizard. Once he sacked with his Charizard, everything started going right. Everything started going right as soon as he sacked his Charizard, because Zacian was not getting the kills. My Kyogre was getting off a lot of damage. Zacian was completely neutralized the whole game. But I think his biggest misplay was not Sacred Swording into my Incineroar, because it literally does more to Kyogre. But either way, we run away with that one. 1-1 in the $1,000 BO3. On to game 3, folks. Let's get right into it. Alright, folks, so after the way game 2 went, I was very confident that I'm going to continue the same strategy of Dynamaxing my Kyogre, hoping to get the turns right versus Gastrodon, and I'm not going with Thundurus, because if Thundurus is not Dynamaxing, like I said before, I don't find it useful. Incineroar definitely carried its weight in the last game. So I'm going to go with the same lead choice as I did last time and the time before, as Joe is as well. So we have the third mind game, again, of the exact same situation. So here's how I'm thinking. Because game 2 he went Gastrodon, and I ended up winning, I decided to go for the direct read turn 1. The Gastrodon is not coming in, right? So I just did this before, right? Last game he did go Gastro. I did switch out. So he made the right play there when he did that game 2 turn 1. But I did win that game. It did go correctly for me, and I decided that, okay, we're going to do the same thing, right? So the first game, you could say first game I went for option A. Second game I went for option B. Now third game I'm going for option B again because it worked. So we're going to go for option B. And it actually works out incredibly. Weezing switches out. I bring in the Incineroar. I keep Zacian neutralized. I'm going to Dynamax the Ogre. Rain is up. He did not opt to go into Gastrodon, right? So game 1, remember when he predicted me and he didn't switch his Gastrodon out and I kept my Weezing in? If I Dynamaxed my Kyogre here as he Dynamaxes his Zard, it would have been the exact same shit. Zard would have lived because he's bulky, would have gotten the +2 weakness policy boost, and this would have done a shit ton of damage. But I get the first turn right, and this is basically the best first turn I could have got, because I'm able to Max Geyser, and I am going to OHKO the Charizard. He goes for Behemoth Blade. He gets a crit. A little annoying, but it's not too big of a deal. I mean, it would have done like 29%. He does 44 with a crit, but it's fine. I kill his Dynamax Zard off the bat. My Weezing is at full HP. My Incineroar is at full HP, and he lost his, likely his major threat. So this is the incredible lead off the bat. Incredible lead. I now see a very clear way of going about this battle after I, got rid of that major threat. So I go to Weezing immediately as he Precipice Blades. However, as he Sacred Swords and Precipice Blazes. I went for Weezing because obviously I have to keep my Incineroar. I got to keep Weezing in here to neutralize the gas. And of course, it always stops Zacian. I love this mon. I just cannot believe the work Weezing put in this. Obviously, I brought a team specifically to counter team the Sun matchup. I'm not doubting that. If you look up Kyogre Weezing, you can see some stuff on VGC Reddit and stuff like that of people saying, is this a legit core? Does it work? And a lot of the responses are, yes, it's a legit core, but it's fucking Weezing. But again, I'm not at a VGC tournament. This is a one-off, so I'm going to go for the full counter team. Anyways, he Sacred Swords into my Weezing as I Max Geyser the Groudon. He goes for the Precipice Blades here, hits my Kyogre, but he misses my Weezing. Now, Weezing definitely lives. I am Shook a Berry, and it does less because it's hitting both targets, but it definitely sucks because then he would have been able to pick me off with the Behemoth Blade or whatever he wanted to a lot easier. So that miss is definitely shitty for him. But for me, this, it literally could not be going better. My Weezing is still very healthy. My Ogre has already killed the Charizard and gotten a massive hit on his Groudon. Remember, Groudon is not Protect. So this thing is already in Behemoth Blade range, and he has his Gastro in the back, of course, and he has his Zacian. But this is really just going well for me. So that's basically what I'm looking at. He goes for Precipice Blades. He goes for Behemoth Blade again into Ogre, but I barely live. Thank God for those EVs. Thank the Lord for these EVs. That little HP and that little defense really put in so much work. But because he was, because I missed Precipice Blades, well, I don't know if it's because I missed Precipice Blades. I mean, he missed Precipice Blades. It was definitely tough for him, but if he goes and gets the hit off on Zacian and then he attacks my Weezing, what if I attack his Zacian? You know what I mean? But either way, I chose to just kill the Groudon on here. I thought he was going to protect with his Zacian. That's what I thought he was going to do. I thought he was going to protect with his Zacian, and I was just going to kill the Groudon. If he wanted to opt into Gastrodon, Gastrodon was going to get annihilated. I get the free Wisp off with Weezing. I think he was just going for the miss at this point and thinking if he can kill Ogre with Behemoth Blade somehow, that then he can be in a really great position if I am to miss Wisp too. But as soon as I hit Wisp here, here's where I was like, okay, now I'm basically in the completely, like I'm in the perfect situation. Like I'm in the totally perfect situation. It's like I really just have to play smart. Zacian is burned. He's down to his last 2. I have all 4. And I have a full health Zacian in the back. His Zacian is burned. He cannot break my team. Kyogre has completely done its job. It killed the ground type. It killed the fire type. Like it has done more than enough. Dynamax is off the field for both parties. Like at this point in the game, I was like, holy shit, like this is mine. Like barring a super mega choker hacks, this is mine. So I go for the taunt here with Weezing because I already know that the Gastro does have Yawn. He goes for Earth Power, but my Shuka kicks in here and I'm able to live. Again, definitely sucks what happened with Precipice Blades, but it's a game we play. Bring in Zacian here. I switch out my Weezing to give myself +1, but then Incineroar comes in, so we keep him at +0. You know the vibes. You know the vibes. I protect with my Zacian because I don't want to take the double attack from Gastrodon and his own. I don't need to do that at all. I'm just going to go into Incineroar. Joe makes a really great play here. He Sacred Swords from my Weezing slot into Incineroar and Earth Powers, but Incineroar is way too damn bulky. I have to keep switching back and forth, but this thing is... Joe predicts it correctly, but it doesn't matter because Incineroar is so bulky. Either way, I get the Protect off. Zacian continues to take Burn Chip. Fake out the Gastrodon hero I've already taunted, and I just double attack that with a Play Rough to 75%. He goes for his own Behemoth Blade into me. That's where Taunt really came into play because, you know, then I can just go for the free Play Rough. I don't have to worry about Protect, so that was really good. Of course, he could have yawned, but it was really nice to just get past Protect and not have to worry about any of that shit either. And I hit my moves. But yeah, he goes for Behemoth Blade, doesn't do shit. Back into Weezing again. Want to keep Incineroar so I can fake out later on as he just protects his Gastrodon. I'm just trying to kill the Gastrodon. That thing is annoying in my opinion, and Zacian is completely useless and just continues to take chip. I also have Flare Blitz on my Incineroar, so when it comes down to it, this can be very annoying. When if he chooses to kill my Zacian, I'm literally going to Flare Blitz and kill his with my Incineroar. I switch out my Weezing, and it's hilarious how this ability works because now because it came in and left twice, it makes Intrepid Sword activate twice. So my guy goes to +2, but his guy's still +0 because of the way Intimidate work. So that's how you see how the Weezing and Incineroar switching back and forth works. It's hilarious. He goes for the double protect because it's all he can do at this point, but it doesn't matter. Goes for a Behemoth Blade. Gets another crit with Behemoth Blade. But fortunately, it doesn't matter. I have both my guys. He has to choose somebody to go after, and my Zacian is already faster, which is, you know, the big knowledge we got from game 1. I'm going to outspeed. I'm going to knock him out, and that is going to be the series. So I won the $1,000 best of 3 VGC Series 12 money match versus VGC Vet Joe. I beat him. I did it. It was one of the craziest series I've had because I have never really been, like, besides maybe like 8 years ago when I first started playing, I'm never the underdog. I only play singles. So whenever I lose, it's always a shit feeling because it's like, fuck, everybody thought I was going to win. Now I'm ass. But I don't think a single person who knew about this thought I was going to win. There were so many tweets of people saying he's fucked, except for Joey. Joey was the only one who I think was like, you got a good chance. And my boy Case, who built the team. Shouts to him. But it went perfectly. You saw how the game 1, 2, and 3, how the mind games went off from turn 1 going forward. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope to do some stuff like this in the future. I think I'm going to be doing more like money match type things. My tweet or whatever, it was like a provocative tweet. Definitely wasn't toxic or like I wasn't going like, oh, y'all are shit, you won't play me, something like that. But I think this type of stuff is fun. There's not too much singles VGC crossover either. So, I mean, in general, I was very happy with how this whole thing went. Like, I mean, obviously I'm happy I fucking won. Like, it's crazy. I wasn't expecting to win and I won. But I prepped good. I think I played pretty good too. You'll see more VGC content from me and Scarlet and Violet as well, because like my preparation this week, I enjoyed playing and all that. And yeah, $1,000 money match. I'm up. Fuck with me.